Hi there, Debbie here. This is the Strength Project podcast. My name is Debbie Adebuke, and I'll be bringing you today's episode with one person that we've had before on the show. Someone we know, someone we love, someone who does not need much of an introduction if you've been here on this channel before. If you haven't, she's my namesake. So let me boost you down once more. She's my namesake. Her name is Deborah Ogunlaye. She is a clinical psychologist. She is amazing. If you didn't see the last episode with her, you want to go and see that after seeing this one. So please help me welcome Debbie Ogunlaye. Debbie,
thank you.
It's great to have you back.
It's great to be back.
So thankful that you could make the time to be back here. Because you don't know, let me just give you a little background. She came straight from work, and the distance between her office and the studio is a distance. I cannot even say anything less than that. It's an actual distance. So thank you for making the sacrifice to be here tonight. Yes, we're recording in the night. Thank you for making the sacrifice to be here. God bless you. We're not going to waste so much time because there's so much to talk about, and I want us to jump straight into it. Today we're discussing mental disorders, and they will give you all sorts of names, all sorts of cool names, right? But the truth is that they are mental disorders, and so we're just going to be talking about that, and we're going to be talking about the different types, and we're going to educate us on what to know, what we don't need to know, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. Basically, that's what we're going to explore here today. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you too.
How are you today?
I'm quite well, thank you.
Thank God she didn't say she's tired. So that's a good sign. Let's get to it. What is a mental disorder?
A mental disorder is anything that affects you psychologically, affects your mental health psychologically. Now, not to use tautology and to repeat the word mental. What do we mean by mental health? When we talk about your mental health, we are saying something that affects your emotions, something that affects your behaviors, or something that affects your thoughts. So let me arrange it. So it's your thoughts, it's what you're thinking, and it's how you behave. And all this addresses it to how you can cope with daily stressors in life. Now, in psychology, we understand that life can be very stressful. So we say you have a good mental health, or your mental health is sound when you can properly, walk through life without feeling any sort of way that can affect your daily functioning. So that's when you say that
your ability to function in spite of stressors is what proves that you have healthy, your mental health is good.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Yes. Okay, so what are then mental health disorders?
Mental health disorders is anything that can affect that functioning. So once that functioning is becoming impaired, or you are incapable of functioning adequately as you ought to be, then you say, oh, this person has a mental health disorder. For example, we have two types of mental health disorders, which some people call mental health. Some people say there's mental health disorder, there's mental health illness, depending on the degree of severity.
Okay.
Right? So we have two types. We have something called neurosis, and we have psychosis.
Please break this down.
Okay, so when we say neurosis are things that does not affect one's perception. Now, when we say psychosis, it affects your perception. Okay. So neurosis means, let's say, issues like stress management, anger issues. All these are just neuroses. They are behavioral issues. They've not affected the person's brain or neurology. So then the perception is normal.
Okay.
But when we say psychosis is anything. I'm just trying to break it down as into the basic layman term. Psychosis is anything that can affect your perception. So the way you see, what you hear, what you feel, anything that can affect your five senses, that is not what is happening with all this psychosis. So for example, schizophrenia is psychosis. Because they are seeing, or they are hearing, or they are feeling, or they are tasting what is not there that other people can see.
So depression is which one?
So depression, we can have depression in psychosis, and we can have in neurosis, depending on the severity. But most times, before we can even call something depression, it means it has to be affecting your daily function.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Please, what are the different types of mental health disorders that we have, because people don't know, to be honest. And even me sitting here, I know I can reel out a few, but can you give us kind of like just like a list of the different mental health disorders, and maybe like just briefly tell us what each of them means? Because I hear people say, oh, I'm depressed, I'm suffering from depression, and I'm like, are you just sad, or are you really depressed?
Yeah.
So if you, or I have ADHD, and just because you don't want to, I don't want to now start bashing people, but if you can give us just a list of, okay, what are the different, I'm sure there are many of them,
A lot.
so if you can just give us like broad spectrum, and then what they entail, that would be nice.
Okay. Explaining, I would talk about, I think, the major four that we have, that we've been experiencing. Number one, anxiety disorders.
Okay.
Under anxiety disorders, we have social anxiety disorders, we have specific phobias, we have panic attacks. So all these, we categorize them as anxiety disorders.
Okay.
So we have, under social anxiety disorder, under another type of anxiety disorder, we also have agoraphobia. So there are a lot of them. So in anxiety disorder, basic anxiety, the fear of the unknown, the fear of something.
Okay.
So social anxiety disorder, you are scared of
being with people.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Agoraphobia, you are scared of going out of your house because you are scared of having a panic attack when you're outside. Yes. So it's
you're afraid of being afraid.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Yes, like fear of fear.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, like fear of fear.
Wow.
Yeah, scared. Yeah, exactly. Then we also have panic attacks too.
Yes.
That we know that most times can be triggered by PTSD and other things. So we also have depressive disorders.
Okay.
Yes. Under depressive disorders, we have the clinical depression.
Yeah.
And that clinical depression, I think I have to define that clinical depression.
Please do.
So please, clinical depression, you can say you are depressed when you have been in a constant low mood for 14 days and above. Constant low mood without coming high. So you're in perpetual sadness for 2 weeks. So we have to see this first before we can say, oh, this person is clinically depressed. Now, we have to see other things too. So, for example, weeping spells. For some people, they might not be weeping spells. It might be insomnia. They are not sleeping. Some people, they are sleeping too much. Some people, they are not eating. Some people, they are eating too much. You have to lose interest in things things that make you happy before. And most especially for depression, you have to be very sad. That's the word. When people say, I'm sad, they don't know that depression is very sad. When you are in a space with a depressed person, there's that force, there's that energy you can feel around them.
Of deep sadness.
Deep sadness.
Wow.
Even they can't explain why they feel that way. That's why it is a disorder. And for it to get that way, the brain chemicals, there's imbalances in it.
Yeah.
So you can't just be depressed because, oh, something just happened, oh, I'm depressed. No. The brain has to, regulate the way it produces dopamine. So it's not producing it as it ought to.
Yeah.
You're in the midst of things that would a normal day release dopamine, but it's not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you just discover, I'm trying to come out. I can't. So the way they explain it sometimes like drowning. That drowning feeling. Yeah. So we have depressive disorders like that, right? Then we have examples. We have schizophrenia too. Schizophrenia disorders, there are a lot of them. There are different kinds of schizophrenia. But schizophrenia basically means that either the person is seeing something that is not there, there's hallucinations, visual hallucinations, auditory hallucination, you're hearing what is not there, tactile hallucination, you're tasting what is not there, your body is feeling what is not there.
Real.
There are some people, they feel things are working at their body and so many. So these are just the symptoms of schizophrenia. And we now have it several times. We have paranoid schizophrenia, there's catatonia, several types of schizophrenia like that.
Wow. That's a lot to deal with. So, for mental health disorders, is it that certain people are just genetically predisposed to having mental health disorders? Or is it that these are things triggered by maybe traumas, or triggered by how they were, upbringing trauma, life trauma, or is it that some people are just disposed, they're going to be depressed based on their genetics? Or is it a mix of the two factors? Can you help us walk through that?
Okay, so research has shown that there's something called the nature-nurture controversy. Yeah, so people think, oh, nature, which is genetics, right?
Yeah.
And nurture, which is environmental factors,
Yeah.
can predispose you. The both of them, they've been an agreement that the both of them can predispose you. Whether if there's no nature, nurture can predispose, and if there's nature, nature can predispose in some circumstances.
Okay.
Yes. So, for example, that's why most times in initial assessment, you always ask, is there a history of mental health disorder in the family? It just lets us know that, okay, this is what we're dealing with. So when there's a history before, that person is genetically predisposed to that all mental illnesses.
Oh, so if somebody was in your house, was clinically depressed, you can be predisposed to something like bipolar syndrome, or just the same mental health disorder the person had?
Yeah, similar.
So
emotion imbalance and all that. So it's in a particular category. There are some that are dealing with emotions, there are some that are dealing with perceptions. So you can be the fact that somebody in the family has had mental health issue means there's a likely, these things we really can't test it in our blood. They have to be maybe genetic mapping to really find out exactly. But we've seen that most times if there's a history of it in the family, most likely. And this is always very linking to substance use disorder that we discussed the last time. Most likely, if somebody has abused substance in the family, there's
predisposition. Yeah. Wow. So our village people were not wrong when they say if you're getting married, go and check your background, whether there are mad people in your family. They were not wrong.
They're not wrong.
Wow. So traditionalists, they are being validated here.
Some sort of truth in that.
Okay. Yes. So on this matter of now being genetically predisposed to certain mental disorders, is it that once you have the gene, it's sure for you that I say you at some point you're going to suffer from these mental health disorders? Or are there things that can be done in your upbringing or in your nurturing to, how do I say it now? I want to say stop the flow.
Yeah.
Right. Are there things that can be done to say, especially for parents? So if I noticed for instance that in my family, maybe the women have maybe bipolar syndrome or have depressive episodes, whatever. And I'm saying, okay, in my own life, maybe at this certain age, I start to notice that I'm also having those symptoms. Is there anything I can do for my own kids to say, no, we're going to put them in this environment or raise them, or is it just going to continue regardless of what I do?
That's a very good question. Genetic predisposition most times are triggered by environmental conditions. Most times. It's rare that the environment is perfect or is adaptive, is healthy, and these mental disorders come up just like that. It's very rare. That's why most of us that are into mental health, we always like to look at the environment, understand. It's called biosocial. We're trying to look everywhere. What happened in the life? What happened here? What happened here? So we use a biosocial approach to answer the questions. So if you notice that you're genetically predisposed, it means that for a mother now, that was the question. For a mother, you have to now put some things in place. You have to put some things in place. For example, if you've noticed there's schizophrenia in the family, one major thing they should run from is substance. Because you know that it is very high,
trigger.
It is very strong trigger for anything, for perceptual disorders, right? Very strong trigger. So you notice that, there's depressive disorders in this family. Then you know that you have to work on your children's emotions. The environment of the family have to be healthy enough, have to be whole enough, have to be emotionally intelligent enough so that those children don't. They even advise that things like cancers, even for physical health, that if you notice there's high blood pressure, hypertension in the family, there's cancer, every other person should watch out, already start preventing this, watch what you eat. Is also like that in mental health.
Fantastic. Amazing, great. So we're saying that even if there is a genetic predisposition, we can, by nurture, by how we create the environment around our young people, we can stem the flow. We can say no more.
We can.
Thus for far and no further. That is amazing. One of the things I've been wanting to ask you is this matter of bipolar disorder. What is bipolar disorder? And let's start from what is bipolar disorder. Let me not go to the and. I'll ask the and after this one. Yeah.
Bipolar, according to the word bipolar, two things on polar ends existing together. So bipolar means the person has episodes of depressive episodes and manic episodes, completely opposite. That's why it's called polar. So it's a polarized feeling. So there are episodes where the person is manic, excessively out there, speaking a lot, engaging in things a lot, out there. And there are times where the person is depressive, very sad, very introverted, very weeping spells can come, and all those things. So that is bipolar in just a layman term.
How do you recognize bipolar disorder in its early stages?
Most times you recognize it by a switch in mood, because it's a mood disorder. It's an example of a mood disorder. So how the mood the person show per time. Now for some people, they notice that some people is low key, it's not really bipolar. They have what they call mood swings, frequent mood swings. Now they're happy all of a sudden for no reason. They're just sad. And you're asking yourself, what is making me sad? For no reason again, your mood is jacked up, you're happy again. So some people can alternate between moods like that, right? But it becomes worrisome when they can stay in a particular mood and they stay there in a very severe way and is affecting daily functioning. For example, someone that is introverted in the office, let me use an office setting, this person is calm, cool, collected. You just notice that for 2 weeks straight, or even for a week straight, this person is the life of the party in the office. All of a sudden, there was no major news around that you can, tie that to. Even the person can't even tie it to anything. You just notice that they're in high spirits. At that time, they can even dash you their car.
Wow.
They can do very ridiculous things.
Wow.
That's one of the symptoms. They do very ridiculous things. I can maybe have just gotten a new phone and I'm like, I'm giving you, empty my bank account. They're just excited. Yes. So
and then
that
after that, then there's a switch to a depressive episode.
And it's possible they even switch back to their normal mood.
Oh,
so
wow.
The episode does not follow.
It doesn't have to be consecutive.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's not sequential. It's not, I'm depressive now, then tomorrow I'm manic. Sometimes you can be depressed. They can be in depressive phase for like 6 months. Sometimes it can last that long when they are very severe. Mental disorders are on a spectrum. So there's severe, there's profound, there's mild, there's moderate. So when it's severe, they can be like that for a long time.
My God.
Forgetting what normal even means anymore.
So I want to ask, because we're seeing more and more and more and more and more and more of these mental disorders. I'm asking about bipolar disorder because I have a friend a good friend who suffered from, and it was terrible. It was really bad. She had to be institutionalized at some point. It was really, really bad. And I'm glad that today she's managing. She's even thriving. I won't even say managing. She got really good help and all of that. But I want to ask, why are we seeing an increase? Why are we having this epidemic of mental health disorders? What is going on? Is it that it's not really a pandemic? It's always been there. Well, because of internet, we're now knowing. Or is this really something that is becoming more and more and more prevalent in society?
It is a pandemic. Mental health disorders, it is becoming a pandemic. And if you notice, for the past 10, 15 years, so that even the UN, everybody's looking towards it, trying to solve it. Everybody's running here and there. And they've even the scholarships, you want to study psychology, they want more people in the mental health field, right? So it is truly, truly becoming a pandemic, not just because of the social media. One major thing, there are several things, right, that is causing all this, or that is making it apparent now. But I will start from the basic unit in the society: family. Family. So now, if you look at it, there's more divorce.
True.
If you look at it, there's more children experiencing things like domestic violence.
So true.
If you look at it, there's single parenting. So the family itself, that's supposed to be the bedrock of the society, now is being tampered with. There's a lot of things happening in family level. So this is triggering a lot of things in children and even adults themselves. So that's one major thing I know, or I can say that is a cause. Because most times when we even start to even have a session with you, we start with family. Okay, how is it in the family? And most times, almost 70% sure there is an issue in the family. There's an issue in the family. So most times those things come as a result of coping mechanisms to the family, trauma here and there. So I can say the degradation in family health or family life, right, is one of the major things I feel is leading to mental health disorders.
And if you look at it, there's such a push against families. I mean, this is a Christian podcast, so we're not afraid to go where we're not afraid to go where no man goes, right?
Yeah.
There's such a push against the family unit. And when I say family unit, I'm saying father, mother, and children. There is, I can raise children by myself, mother. I can raise children by myself, father. So I'm going to be a baby mama. I'm going to be a baby dada. If there's any such thing, I'm sure there is, because this world, there is, we're two women and we're going to have children together. We're two men and we're going to adopt children together. And all sorts of just attacks. And then there are the people who say, you know what, I have such a terrible family. I don't even want a family. I just... Any way you place it is an attack against the family unit. So it's like Satan is strategically going after families and going after it. And so as believers that we are, what can we do? What is our place in curbing, stopping, preventing this rampage of Satan? Because it's easy to say, it's psychological, so it's not spiritual. In fact, let's answer this question first. Psychology and spirituality, are they separate?
They're not.
Because this is something that
they are so not separate.
This one is not spiritual. It's psychological. And I want to know, is there a place where psychology and spirituality meet?
There's an intersecting line. They intersect a lot. So it's true that, I can have neurosis, I can maybe have anger issues, and I'm just dealing with it. Learning a few skills here and there will help me cope the anger. It's true. But there's another dimension into it where, those demons that from your father's side have come and sit on your shoulder and say you will move forward in life.
Powers from the father's house.
The Bible says anger rests in the bosom of what? Fools.
Yeah.
So they want to come and make you foolish and they rest with you. So in spirituality we know that once a particular behavior has been done over and over and over again, there is a great chance you are inviting the spirit in charge of that to come and take over. So it's possible it started, let me just use the word, started in the flesh.
But now it has ended in the spirit.
Very possible. Very possible.
Okay, so this is interesting. So that means that as a church, we have a part to play.
A whole lot of parts to play.
What is our part to play?
Number one, not shying away from the issue. Not hiding it. Not over spiritualizing it. That, no, if you this, I've had to talk to some parents and they're like, no, can we call a pastor to come? And I'm like, I know you are saying this, but let's first name it. Most times if you're feeling anything physical, they'll tell you, go to the hospital, do a test, do this. But the extreme, those that are taking spirituality to the extreme, they don't even believe that there's anything like that. We're in complete denial. Or is it that we acknowledge and we claim we acknowledge, but we still shut it down. So you're like this, no, don't worry. The Lord said, without adequately listening into what the person is going through, even knowing the demons you are even fighting, just know it, understand it first. Know what the person, then even know if there are environmental factors that is sustaining it.
So that you don't cast out the demon, but leave the house empty.
Exactly.
For it to bring the 7 bosses.
Exactly. So we need to acknowledge that this is a menace, this is a problem, this is an endemic, this is affecting our society. Our children are suffering from these things. If you see someone suffering from depression, you know the person is not faking it. They are not lying. That's why some people say, I'm depressed. People that are depressed will not say they are even depressed.
There's no energy.
They are too weak to even acknowledge it.
Wow.
And most times you are too even ashamed to say it. Because you've tried to come out of it, but you did not come out of it. So you're shying away, you're hiding it. You don't want the world to know that this is what you're experiencing. But you're still trying to look for help. But you don't even know how to go about help. So there's a lot going on in the mind of a depressed person. But I'm just depressed, though. You know that.
Are you sure?
This one is not depressed, right? So all these things, acknowledging it, number one, removing the stigma mark from it in the church. Number one is one of the major ways I believe the church can go to attending it, and helping them go to seek for help too. Allowing them to seek for professional help too. While still doing this, it doesn't negate the other.
Yeah.
Someone can be ill, and you're taking maybe malaria pills, because you finally got into the place where you've broken down, right?
Yeah.
Take something while you're trusting God for your healing.
True. I mean, we have people who have cancer and they're doing chemo and we're praying for them.
Exactly.
Too, so, yeah.
Exactly. So taking, going for help, taking medications in a facility doesn't stop you from trusting the Lord. It doesn't reduce the power of the Lord.
Exactly.
It doesn't stop. Stop that at
need
all.
To say it again. It does not reduce the power of the Lord. Seeking help does not reduce the power of the Lord. Who gave psychologists wisdom?
Exactly.
Who gave therapists wisdom that they're using to guide you? I mean, I know that people take it to an extreme. In fact, these days, it's like if you don't see a therapist once a year, you're not in the you need to go talk to a therapist.
Exactly.
Have you seen a therapist?
Oh yeah. Just yesterday I was in a call with my therapist.
Yeah,
she was like, I'm minimalizing this issue, so I'm working on not minimalizing. Really.
The romanticizing of mental health. So it's like we went from one end, we went from stigma, and then we went all the way to romanticizing it. What do you have to say about these two extremes, and how do we become real? How are we not on either extreme of it?
Yeah, that one of the major things that we suffer most in our generation is the word balance. We are always tilting to the pendulum, and it's natural with human nature to always want to drive something to the extreme, especially when there's a move. You just push all boundaries and all borders. What I would say is, ignoring it, as we can see, the effect is completely wrong, because there are people that are actually going through this. Romanticizing it is equally wrong,
and maybe even dangerous.
Very dangerous. Because by the time you start accepting a diagnosis, some people just feel some way. They go to Google. I feel like this.
Dr. Google.
Even a physical doctor, someone that is not even into mental health, will tell you, don't even take your symptoms to Google.
Yeah, true.
Because it will tell you so many things. Oh, I'm feeling pain in my left side. I'm feling pain in my right side.
Next thing, you have duodenum cancer.
Exactly. Your kidney is not functioning well. You should go and see the doctor. They can tell MRI. Like MRI.
CT scan. You never do X-ray.
It might just even be hunger that is even the person. Right? So we always advise not to take those symptoms online. So for example, you took your symptoms online and you saw things like bipolar. Because bipolar is now
everywhere.
Abused so much. You saw things like depression. Maybe you just say, I'll be sad. And maybe ChatGPT too, which ChatGPT has been a very good doctor these days. AI, different kinds of AI, right? And they give you some symptoms and you accept it. It bothers me a lot how people just accept diagnosis. Will you just accept cancer like that?
Like, I want a second, third, fifth, and 10th opinion.
So you accept it like that. It's so wrong. It's so dangerous. Because once you see the symptoms listed out, because these things are mostly behavioral. Right? You start behaving that way.
My God.
Because you believe that is what is happening to you. Everything in you just believes is true. And because there's a strong move in mental health, there's a way we want to help those that will not have mental health issues. So because you want the attention seeking behaviors,
You
you
don't want
want
to a
it.
mental disorder.
Yes, it's a neurosis actually. When it begins to affect your daily life,
Wow.
when every time you want people to always notice you in
Yes.
conversations, you can't even let someone speak. You always want to be the one to speak. There's a personality like that.
Yeah.
There's a personality disorder like that. It's called histrionic. You see, they're always it's a whole lot of something. Yes. So, right, you go, you check these things, you see it, you accept it, and you're on that side. You go online. That's the next thing. You want a podcast immediately. Also, I'm dealing with this. Nobody has diagnosed you. We had a case very recently in the hospital, and the person came and said, I have ADHD.
This ADHD, we have to talk about it.
I have ADHD. And the next question I asked is, who told you had ADHD? He said, oh, I'm very jittery. I can't stay in a place. I notice that I can't concentrate on something for too long. When I look at it, I'm like, okay, it might just be that you're restless, or that things can. Why do you say it's ADHD? He said, oh, I went online. I'm like, okay.
You self-diagnosed yourself of cancer.
Exactly.
Like who does that?
And not just self-diagnose of cancer. Accept it
and start
behave as though you have it.
Medication.
Start taking it exactly. So that the accepting is not even the issue. Is how your behavior start patterning into the behaviors or the symptoms of this particular issue. And it's very terrible.
I think another thing that bothers me for the romanticizing of mental health disorders is that it gives the skeptics even further ground to say this thing is unreal.
Yeah.
Because if everybody claims that they have a mental health disorder, I have this, I have that, I have this. How do we then spot the people who truly have it, need help?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like with the romanticizing of mental health disorders, it has also helped people just say, this thing is not that serious.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anybody romanticize cancer or romanticize AIDS, HIV, and just be like, oh, I had malaria 3 months in a row, so therefore I have HIV. Because if you start having like your immune system isn't working as well, one of the things that Dr. Google will tell you is that you may have HIV. But I haven't seen anybody yet who just started telling people, I have HIV. They didn't do a test. They're taking antiretrovirals without doing a test. But we have this with mental health disorders. And so that romanticizing, that everybody claiming to have something, has also given the skeptics, people who don't believe that there's anything really to see, has also given them ground to say, this thing is unreal. Let's talk about people who say this thing is unreal, especially Gen X and boomers, who will be like, if I beat you, this depression will come up for your body.
Exactly. I've
never seen anybody who they beat out of depression before. I've not seen. I want to ask, what's my question, Safe? How do we present to them that this is a real issue? Because I've seen cases of children attempting or committing suicide in a house with their parents. And it's almost like, no, I never knew, it was sad sometimes now, but how do we bring that generation on board with what is now a reality? We can't escape this reality. But it seems like they want to stay stuck in a time capsule, and they don't want to move into the fact that this is a reality, this is what is going on. I mean, you deal with these parents almost on a daily basis who are coming to say, God forbid, my child does not have, he's just lazy, he does not. How do we deal with that? How do you bring them on board to see what's really going on? Especially religious people.
Yes. Religious or traditional. Those two. They are at the two ends. Exactly. They are together. Okay. Mental health disorders are very real. They are very, very real. And understanding how real they are will help you with your children in this generation. Remember the first session we had before, we said there's something called generational gap.
Yes.
And we said there are things akin to each generation.
Yes.
I was even doing a particular session and I discovered that there's something called parentification trauma. Yes.
Explain it.
Yes, parentification trauma. So this is me trying to talk to parents now. Parentification trauma happens when there are two types, there are two kinds of parentification. There's instrumental parentification trauma and there's emotional parentification trauma, where you allow your child or you make your child handle emotions that they are not mature to handle.
Come on now.
Yeah. Or you make your child handle responsibilities in the family that they are not up to the age to handle. Now, this has happened over time. We see that parents leave the elder child to take care of the younger ones, and or parents are experiencing some form of violence or in the family or something. They crave or demand emotional support from their children. So once this are done in the extremes, it affects the children greatly. You see that they have issues with interpersonal relationships. You see that they are not confident of themselves.
Yeah.
Or you see they are overly confident of themselves because they've been made to handle some roles that
they weren't mature enough to handle.
So you see that those children have serious problems. Especially interpersonal problems. Have serious. So will you now say, oh, this never existed? Oh, because, and you know, sometimes our African parents will say, oh, they are maturing early. It's good to be the elder one. Stand up for your younger ones. Not letting them completely cut off from being children. Right? So several things, there are different kinds of traumas. Several things can lead to mental disorders. And these things are real. Our children, their children are suffering from these things.
Yeah.
So the earlier they start looking at the psychological aspect of your children, the more that beautiful picture you have for their future can be actualized. So stop ignoring it. And trust God for grace to help you parent in such a way that it can drastically limit or eradicate these things from their lives.
Yeah. And I hear you say trust God, but also school yourself.
Yeah.
Go and learn. There are so many courses. I don't want to recommend any, or should I just recommend?
Yeah, please.
There are courses. I mean, this lady Wendy, Ologe, she has so many courses on parenting. Get yourself a course and get educated. Deal with your own trauma. Parents, deal with your own trauma. Acknowledge and deal with your own trauma. There are things that you went through that you've just buried, things that your parents did to you, things that happened to you when you were growing up. And you're acting out of those things. If you're being true to yourself, you're seeing that there are patterns that you swore to yourself that you would never repeat, that you are repeating. Deal with them. Get to see an expert. Go and talk to someone you can trust and talk about them, deal with them. Otherwise, you're going to repeat the pattern with your children. It's non-negotiable. It's not something that you can escape. You will say, oh, I won't, but then you will. So deal with your trauma. Stop. We need to do this thing where we stop quelling, damning, suppressing emotions.
Yeah.
Emotional suppression is unhealthy.
Yeah, very.
Is unhealthy. We have to come to the point where we acknowledge and then redirect emotions. Not, I don't
minimalize it.
Do you understand?
There's something called suppression expression, suppressive expression, or suppression expression, where you express suppressing your emotion. So it's a thing.
This is something I'm sure all Africans.
I did a research among some students on loneliness. I did a research on loneliness, and you won't believe that about 75% of my study group, and I had about 400 participants in that research, but 75 of them admitted feeling lonely. When I checked their cognition, I checked how the kind of emotional regulation skills they use. Most of them expressions, suppression expression.
What does that mean?
It means that you are feeling something. It could be for different reasons. Nobody will understand. Nobody will listen to me. You suppress it. You minimalize whatsoever you are feeling at that time, and you disappear from your story. So, for example, I'm going through a lot, but I come out, I'm smiling.
And when they ask you say it is well.
It is well, it's fine, nothing. Or you see parents say, why do you look so sad? Come out of it, come out of it. That's all. But mommy, this thing is no. When I was your age, these things, when I was here, I struggled. I fought with life. Now see where I am. You to come out of it.
As though where they are is a good place. Because that's another thing. Where you are might not be a good place. Externally, it may look good. Internally, you may be in turmoil.
So they put financial freedom,
as the mark.
success, as you being successful, forgetting that there's psychological success. That's one thing that is completely ignored. Do you know you can be financially independent, right? You can have financial freedom as a parent, but you are terrible in communication.
So true.
Terrible. You are so aggressive. So you can't even communicate, in a way where people assertively. Terrible in communication. And that alone, your children are scared, there's fear, or you can be successful as a father, but come home and beat your wife.
So true.
So how did what you experienced help you? How did whatsoever you saw in your family build you up? Your sons are watching you. Your daughters are looking at you. So many things like this come together, and parents are ignoring over and over their psychological health and forcing their children to equally ignore their psychological health too.
I want to say something. We're not parents blaming here.
Yeah.
We're not saying, oh, it's your fault, that everything. I mean, at some point, children have to take responsibility for what's going on in their life.
Definitely.
But we are saying that you have a role to play.
Yeah.
As a parent, you have a role to play. As a parent to be, because a lot of people watching this are parents to be.
Yeah.
As a parent to be, you have a role to play. This is the time to start dealing with your traumas. This is the time to start acknowledging where you are in your mental health. It might not have gotten to the point where it's impairing your daily function, but it's affecting how you think, how you reason, how you view the world.
Yeah.
It's a problem. You should pay attention to it and deal with it. I want to ask a question about screens. Screens, access to information, and mental disorders. One of the things that is on the rise these days that children are being diagnosed with is ADHD.
Yeah.
And autism as well.
Yeah.
I want to ask, is there a correlation between how much screen time, even for you as an adult, how much time you spend scrolling, that can predispose you to these? Does that exist?
It does. Because some researchers, a lot of research is going into that now. And some researchers have confirmed, based on their results, that there is a strong correlation. And sometimes there could even be some predictive factors involved. Even beyond correlation, beyond the relationship, it could even predispose them to having some mental health disorders, right? And you see this thing on ADHD, right? This attention deficit hypersensitivity disorder. It's so serious. It's a lot, because just seeing some things on the screen, like watching, there was a research that I read on Tom and Jerry, that children that watched Tom and Jerry had aggressive behaviors later in life.
Very true.
Like, I legit saw this research.
Yes. I didn't realize how violent Tom and Jerry was until I was an adult. I was like, Jesus is Lord.
Yeah, very violent. Very violent. So imagine a child consistently faced with that throughout when they were growing up. I think the study was a longitudinal study. They did the study from when they were young to when they were about 25 or so. Wow. So it was like a 25-year study. I think I'll look for it. It was like a 25-year study, and they did it, I think, and the results were terrifying. Most of them had even become criminals. So very aggressive. So Tom is always chasing Jerry, and there's so many tactics, right? So many tactics, so many ways they're saying that. Or children are overly exposed to too many stimulating things. So overstimulation is one of the things we see in ADHD, right? So children are exposed to too many stimulating cartoons. Parents don't screen cartoons. They don't listen in on the things said in cartoons. They don't look at the kind of graphics shown in cartoons, or the children are on a particular kind of cartoon for hours. So the moment they are done, the little gap they have before they come back, they want to act out everything they've seen. So sometimes I can see some children, they just jump from a height. Why are you there? He jumped. Who jumped? I think there's one called, is it Paul Patrol now?
Yes.
Oh, they are doing like him. They want to fight. They want to save the world. It's normal for children to replicate what they see.
Yes.
But when they see it
over and over and over
stimulating
for
something,
hours
stimulating
and hours
something,
and hours,
their brain becomes too active.
Hmm.
Their brain becomes too stimulated. So they go through this over and over and over again. So there's serious correlation between screen time, and being predisposed to some mental disorders.
Even as an adult.
Even as an adult. Now, for an adult, most times, we don't do cartoons, we don't do things like that. So one major thing we do is mindless scrolling on social media. So you can be on social media for hours.
Yes.
And most times, by the time you drop your phone, like after 1 hour, most people, after 1 hour, they're like, oh, what have I been doing? Some people can get as much as 2 to 3 hours. Like when they started, it was 1 p.m. And by the time they are bringing down the phone,
4 p.m.
they're like, time has gone. Yes. There are people like that. Mindless scrolling, especially on Instagram, Twitter, all these social media handles.
Think reels and shorts.
And that's why they do
Snapchat
reels
and TikTok. So you're just going and going and going over.
And by the time you're done, so some people come up with, I'm learning. There's something we call micro learning. I'm learning. But by the time you drop that device down, they ask you, what was the first video you watched? You can't even remember. Okay, what exactly did you learn in all these videos? The one you mostly remember are the funny ones. So maybe the ones that comedy, comic. Really, you're not learning anything.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, your mind is focused on all those information. Your eyes just keep seeing pictures and images flowing through your face over and over and over again. You're not mindful of where you are. It affects your work life. It affects your social life. It affects your productivity as a person, right? And because of that, one major thing you do, you start isolating yourself. Your social support, you don't go to meet them again. Your friends, your hangout, those things begin to reduce, and this happens so slowly. It can happen over the span of a year, because it's not so drastic that I'm doing this. Gradually, you begin to experience. Do you know that you can carry the spirit of what you're even watching?
Sure.
So you're over watching content of maybe, especially for people, I don't know why you will sit down and for 3 hours. When you're not a forensic psychologist or you're
watching investigative. God delivered me from that thing.
Do you know, by the time you're done, you legit feel depressed. You feel so sad. There's like this heaviness on your heart. Or you're watching true crime. You're sitting and you're watching how the murder happened, the murder next door. You're watching all those things. Right? It affects your emotions. It affects what you think. Do you know that by the time you're done scrolling and you drop it, for the next 1 hour, everything running through your mind is related to what you've just seen. Whether consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously. So your mind is working. And all these things can be put together to predispose one to mental. Things like anxiety disorders now can come based on the information you see.
Because if you dey watch where then they kidnap person, kill them every day, you go get anxiety.
You start having things like hypervigilance. You're not very careful. You start watching out. Things like that.
Hey, God, I beg.
See how we can use our own hands
to bring on what will now finish us finally. To not finish us in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
So I want to ask. We're coming to a close. I want to ask. How do we intervene? So I'm asking this question for those of us who there's someone in our environment. As we've been speaking, you can just tick 1, 2, 3. Yeah. This is what is going on with this person. And the person hasn't come to a point where they're owning it. What should intervention look like?
Okay. Interventions for different mental disorders comes in different forms and shapes, right? Depending on the peculiarity of the disorder. For example, let me start from neuroses, things that have not even affected your perception or anything. So let me say, I was having a conversation with a friend to bring it home now. And the person was like, no, I don't need to see a psychologist. This thing called psychologist, only mad people that used to see psychologists. And I said something. I said, do you know something as little as your attachment style? The way you attach to your partner, your romantic partner, even to your friends, can be a problem. Some people could be struggling with even having friends.
Yes.
And they don't even know why they're struggling with having friends.
Avoidance behavior.
There's anxious attachment. There's dismissive attachment. Before all these insecure attachments. There's another thing, anger issues. Some people are very aggressive in their
Yeah.
communications.
Yeah.
It's either you're aggressive or you're passive. You know, there's a passive part of
Yes.
communication. You are very agreeable. You shut yourself out. You don't matter in the conversation. So it's always what other people want.
What people pleasing.
People pleasing. Very people pleasing. Right? So let's say you've seen this in yourself. Most time neurosis can be self-diagnosed because you are currently struggling with some of these things. You've just noticed that I'm just someone that people are not around me. Or people are always saying I shout too much. People are always saying I'm yelling too much. You notice this, I would just advise you, please seek for help. Just some few sessions, and it teaches you skills that you can use to combat things like this. But now let's go into psychosis or some very serious or severe disorders that is already affecting daily life. For people like that, sometimes they don't know that they're actually experiencing things like this.
Yes.
Because wherever they are now is their new normal. So they believe it is normal. They see it as normal. For someone that has, I've once met someone that had SAD, that's social anxiety disorder, and they just think everybody is shy. So when I'm standing in front and my heart feels like it wants to burst out of my chest, it's normal. Everybody should feel that way. But it's not normal. The shyness is social anxiety. Social anxiety is so bad that it won't even let you communicate in public. You're always quiet. You shut yourself out, right? So let's say you notice someone like this, or you are beginning to see those behavioral patterns, those we call it oddities in behavior. You're beginning to see these oddities in behavior gradually. You're beginning to notice it. Number one thing to let this person know is to try to inform them. Try. Bring pictures. Now, for you to notice this, it means they were not like that before.
Yeah.
So come lovingly with evidences. Because most times you can be like, oh, sis, you're usually very jovial, you're usually very this, but I've just noticed for like a month now, usually to yourself, hope all is well. Come with care. Come with love. Don't come with label.
This is so true.
Don't stigmatize.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Don't stigmatize. So come like that, come lovingly, come with care. Number one. Number two, if there's anybody if they won't listen to you, if there's anybody that you can speak to, that they will listen to, talk to a higher authority, let them speak with them. Because they have to have insight into their issue. Having insight into your mental state or your mental illness is the first step to even solving that mental illness. Now, if the mental illness is to the extreme, is profound, is severe, then at that time, you have to take them to the hospital. They have to go and take medications. So for something like depression, the person you can see that how we define depression, 2 weeks or more, you can see that, it has affected the person's life. The person is not going out.
They can't,
all those things. Please take them to the hospital. Let them immediately start them on medications. What do those medications do? To start balancing out
the hormones
in their brain. So it helps them, it forces the release of dopamine, it forces the release of endorphins, it forces all this feel good, because at that time they can't do it by themselves. So depending on the severity, it will let you know how you can be of help to this person. But number one, if you notice that you're someone that is very judgmental, you cannot be the one to do this. You cannot be the one to do this. If you notice you're someone that don't know how to talk with care, you're quick, you're very aggressive in your mode of speech, you cannot be the one. You'll just drive them further away from you. So these are one of the first aid you can always administer.
Let's talk, as we begin to round up, let's talk about suicide. Now, because of the space I work in, I've heard a lot of very funny suicide. Not funny. There's nothing funny about it. But a lot of suicide stories that make you go like, what happened? This person was up and doing. They were maybe just a couple of hours before with friends, laughing and playing, and then they went back to their houses and they committed suicide. What do we need to look out for in the people around us to know if this is a route that they are likely to go down?
Okay. Number one, I'll say watch their social behavior. So if there's someone that is quite extroverted, and most times you see that it's people that are extroverted that you see that the person is going through something you don't even know. The person killed themselves. You see it, they're unalive. Very, very sad, because you're like, we're just laughing some few minutes ago. So what their behavior? Check up on people. ask, I was talking to a particular parent, and I was like, you check up on your child on every other aspect except what they feel and how the circumstance around them is affecting how they feel. So to prevent this, routine checkups on your friends too. Check up. Don't just say, how far? How is it going? And that's all. No. How are you feeling? What's going on in your life right now? We should check up on one another. We all need one another.
We need community.
We need community. We are interdependent on each other. So we are social beings. We all need that community.
Yeah.
So number one, check up on one another. That's one major thing. Number two, watch out for these signs. You see withdrawal. Some people you discover they speak before, they're becoming more and more silent. What's happening? Oh, nothing. What's happening? You can visibly see it written over them. Withdrawal and isolation. So, sin, they say, thrives in secrecy.
Yeah.
So for the devil to have you, he isolates you.
True.
So you notice that they begin to isolate themselves. Someone that is always coming out for hangouts no longer comes out
anymore.
Someone that comes to church, you don't see them again. When they come, they don't even want to associate with anybody.
Quick, they don't go.
They've gone. It's a pointer to something.
Yeah.
So watch isolation. Watch, for people that are extroverted, listen in on jokes. They usually say it, that there's always truth in jokes. It's not like that. Somebody will just go like that now. The first time. That is so funny. In this our life, you just see somebody's alive today. Somebody is dead tomorrow. Jokes. So listen in. And this is me saying, be present in your relationships.
Come on. I wish we could put this on a t-shirt. Be present in your relationships.
Present. There's a skill called assertive listening. You're not just hearing people so you two can gist your own.
Yeah.
You are truly mindfully listening to what they are saying. So be present.
Yeah.
Because most times, sincerely, they were cues. They were actually cues. And we missed them.
You see, this thing about superficial relationships, we're rounding up now. Superficial relationships, everything. I'm friends with this person is my friend on Instagram, my friend on, and then you feel like you have a community when in fact you don't have anyone.
Yeah.
We need to develop real relationships.
Yeah.
I think that one of the reasons why mental health disorders are on the rise is that there are no real relationships. There are no real relationships, there are no deep relationships, and there are no meaningful relationships. Relationship with parents is surface.
Very shallow.
Very shallow. Relationship with friends, shallow or compartmentalized. Relationship in church, that one you're just performing, make them go talk. Do you understand? And so all of these things just help so many other things to thrive. You find out that your child has a mental health disorder. You don't want to talk about it because you don't want them to stigmatize your child. You don't want them, I was talking with someone recently, and this is just a segue back to drug abuse, and the boy had abused drugs for years, and he's out now, he's okay, and he wants to talk to young people about what he went through. His parents are totally opposed to it because they don't want him to spoil himself outside.
Or spoil the family name.
Disgrace the family name outside. And so you hear all these things and they're just like, we need real relationships. We need relationships where you actually do care about the other person more than you care about how you, I don't even know. I'm not sure that I'm putting it appropriately, but you actually care about this person's well-being, not just how does it really affect how I'm seen, or how will it affect my reputation, or how will it affect, all those things. We actually need to begin to care for people, really, and we actually need to begin to pay attention to the cues around us. We have to be mindful. One of the things that being on social media and on screen does a lot is that it stops mindfulness. You're not mindful. You're not in the moment. You're not present. I remember attending an event recently this year where they asked us to drop our phones outside. People were like, we'll drop our, but it was one of the best events I've attended in a long time because I wasn't distracted by taking pictures. I wasn't trying to capture the moment on my phone. None of that. I was just in the moment. How many of us can say that we're really in the moment with the people around us? And that's when you pick cues like, oh, this person isn't sounding right. Oh, they aren't looking like right. Oh, she used to make her hair, but her hair has been scattered for a few months. And so you are wondering, what is it, money now, or is there a depressive thing here? And we need to be present. Parents, we need to heal. We need to support healing. We need to encourage healing. We need to get into spaces where we can talk about things that have happened, traumas that have happened, listen to our children and give them the space to actually heal. And we ourselves get healed as well. It's been such an enlightening episode with you, ma'am. Thank you again for coming, for being here. I'm sure it won't be the last time we see you.
Definitely.
I'm very sure it won't be the last time we see you, but we're so grateful for having you. Yeah, this is the Strength Project. This is the Strength Project. This is what we do, and we hope that this episode has taught you something new and helped you be a better person, actually, and helped you be present. Be present. Be grounded.
Be mindful.
We love you. We'll see you next time.
See you. Bye.